Hello, listeners, and welcome to episode 125 of the Nigeria Football Weekly podcast. Me, your host, Olu Oke. As promised, I just wanted to do a review of the game against Rwanda, which took place yesterday with the Super Eagles of Nigeria beating Rwanda 2-0, courtesy of a brace by our star player, Victor Osimhen. So I'll be touching on that game, and then also I'll be doing a preview of our game against Zimbabwe. Two things before I get into it. Today is the 45th year anniversary of Nigeria winning our first ever AFCON in 1980. So I just want to salute the legends that have led to where we are today. You know, our legacy is built on the trophies we win and our success. And we cannot go without acknowledging the amazing work of the team of 1980, whether that's the Christian Chukwus and the Shego Digbamis of the world. So we salute you guys and we thank you for all the hard work and the greatness that you brought and you foresaw for the national team ahead of the team of the 90s, who then gone on to win the AFCON in 1994 and of course our last AFCON success in 2013. Also, secondly, I just wanted to say a big shout out to everybody who joined the live stream yesterday for the Nigeria-Rwanda watch along. We got almost 3,000 views on that post, so I wanted to just say a big thank you to everybody. It's the first live stream I've done as Nigeria Football Weekly, so we'll continue to level up and produce this content. But anyway, shout out to the Super Eagles. What a wonderful win. Firstly, how nice is it to watch Nigeria and not have to panic? You know, you just watch a match where, you know, as a big boy country, you just deliver what you need to do. You get a routine 2-0 win away from home, and you just done and dust the game. Like, the game was a procession pretty much for the last 40 minutes. So shout out to Coach Eric Chelle and the team. So who's ended up starting the game? I mean, we're not too far off. I think the main thing I got wrong in terms of my starting lineup is I did not foresee Brighter Side Samuel starting, and I did not know that the coach will end up playing both Chukwueze and Moses Simon. I thought one of them would play, but Eric Chelle got his tactics spot on. Very attacking formation. We had a back four and goalkeeping. Nabali was in goal. Ekong and Basi started as expected. Ola Aina started as expected, but he started as left back rather than right back. And then we saw Brighter Side Samuel coming to start at right back, Bruno Yemachi starting off the bench. We had a midfield pairing of Wilfred Ndidi and Alex Iwobi, and then we literally went all gongo attack. Chukwueze started the game, Lookman played the game, Moses Simon played the game, and Osimhen played the game. In fact, when you look at the way we played, you could almost say it was a bit of a 4-1-2-1-2 formation. But there was definitely a lot of rotation going on, especially in the front line behind Osimhen. You know, Lookman, Simon, Chukwueze took up positions both on the width of the pitch, but at certain points they were also in the middle of the pitch, especially Lookman and Simon. And I thought we did an excellent job in this game of winning. So shout out to all the players. My score prediction was 3-1 for Nigeria, so I wasn't too far off. It ended up being 2-0 and we kept a clean sheet. So shout out to the defense and Nwabali. In reality, we didn't really get threatened at all in this game, which was interesting to see. But just to recap the starting lineup again, it was Nwabali, Osai Samuel, Chustekong, Basi, Aino, Wilfred Ndidi, Chukwueze, Simon, Alex Wobi, Ademola Lookman, and Victor Osimhen, just in case anyone did not get that the first time. Our updated group standings means that after beating Rwanda, we're now fourth on the table with 6 points after 5 games, and that was our first win of the qualifying round. Rwanda lost, so they remain third with 7 points. Benin drew their game at home to Zimbabwe. Was he away? Away to Zimbabwe, sorry. 2-2. So Benin move up to 8 points and are second. And South Africa dispatched Lesotho 2-0, which we pretty much expected to go to top of the group with 10 points. So healthier position, but of course the job's not finished. We need to make sure that we beat Zimbabwe on Tuesday, because that would make us look in a bit more of a healthy position, especially with the top two in the group playing each other on Tuesday. So Benin Republic hosts South Africa on Tuesday. So fingers crossed we'll get a draw, but we need the South Africans to start dropping points as soon as possible. How did the game go? To be fair, this game was one-way traffic the whole match. I thought it was a very commanding display from the Super Eagles, very professional. We literally camped Rwanda's half for majority of the game. We dominated them with chances. Chance creation, people might complain that we did not get enough chance creation, but you get a lot of chances by pressing. This is one of the best, if not the best, pressing performance I can remember watching a national team in a long, long time. Yes, at AFCON, we saw good spirits of pressing, especially from Lookman and Osimhen. But yesterday felt like a very concerted effort from the whole team. And it led to so many chances. In fact, if we're more clinical, this could have been 4-0, 5-0 by halftime. We were that impressive. So Osimhen scored an early goal. Initially, he got manhandled in the first minute, and we thought he might have an injury, but there was nothing to worry about then. And then one of the key things that allowed us to win this game easily was we scored a very early goal. So in the 11th minute, we had a free kick, an indirect free kick taken by Ademola Lookman. That's another thing I noticed. Lookman took all of our set pieces, so it's clearly been designated by Eric Chelle. And he floated in a cross, fantastic cross, literally for Osimhen to volley it one time into the back of the net. The defending from Rwanda was very, very suspect. I don't know how you leave Osimhen that free. Star player, star striker. And literally, Ekong and Osimhen were both free. So he missed Ekong, but he landed perfectly to Osimhen, who used his right foot to volley it into the back of the net. And that pretty much settled the nerves, just allowed the team to go into the game and play our game. We had quite a few chances. Osimhen had a cross that nearly resulted in an own goal because Moses Simon was pressuring the defender, Motsini. Lookman had a corner that found Ekong. Our set pieces were really good in this game as well. Ekong had a few headers that headed wide. Osimhen had one that headed wide here or there. We did have a big save from Ntwari, who denied Moses Simon. Moses Simon, this is another chance we got after pressing them. Osimhen literally pressed, won the ball, played to Lookman. Lookman slipped in Moses Simon, and Moses Simon tried a Thierry Henry-esque shot, but Ntwari made a very, very good save. Rwanda did not really do much in the first half, to the point that they even had a player substituted in 38 minutes. Maybe it was injury, but the way the guy jogged off the pitch, it didn't really look like it was injury that led to that. Rwanda ended up having their first corner in the 44th minute after a strange header by Ola. I know he was not under pressure, but he just panicked slightly and headed the ball out for a corner. But we didn't even see any problems from that. And then guess what? Just before halftime, Osimhen led to an error. Long ball from Nabali. Osimhen initially headed the ball and he went back, and then the ball then bounced forward, and the Rwanda centre back committed himself a bit too keenly because Rwanda pushed up the pitch. They were trying to see if they could get some kind of score, which is what I love the most about this Super Eagles performance. We showed that we could score by set pieces. We showed we could score by the counter attack, and our chance creation was also not too bad. So honestly, just a fantastic performance. But anyway, as the Rwanda centre back tried to commit towards the ball, Osimhen's pace and just guile just won the ball ahead of him, and Osimhen all of a sudden had a lot of green grass to run into. He literally took three touches of the ball while striding towards the goal. 1, 2, literally from the right hand side of the penalty box, and then just before the goalkeeper was coming in to the rushing goalkeeper, he just chipped the goalkeeper, and next thing you know, it was 2-0 for Nigeria, and we're literally on our way. So that was Osimhen's 25th goal for the Nigerian national team, which makes him the outright second top goal scorer for the national team. Shego Degwami has 23 goals, but Osimhen's brace took him to 25 goals in just 39 appearances. So is a matter of when rather than if for Osimhen to break the great Yashidi Rekini's goal scoring record. That is why it's even more imperative that we make the World Cup, because the greats that we're mentioning, they all played in the World Cup. Odegbami did not, but the Ekinis of the world did. The 90s generation all did. So Victor Osimhen has to make it by God's grace. So honestly, halftime 2-0, very routine win so far. The second half was a lot more slow, and it was a textbook example of how you control a tie that you're winning when you're the big team, especially away from home. Nigeria did not want a situation where Rwanda got an early goal in the first 20 minutes of the second half. So we just stifled them. It was just control possession. You could tell we didn't really try to score another goal because, when you have a 2-goal lead, you're pretty much cruising. There are a few chances here or there. Osai Samuel forced a save from Ntwari. Lookman had a free kick here or there, but we started to roll in the changes from the 67th minute with Oyedika and Oyemachi coming on to replace Ola Aino and Chukwueze. Osimhen did miss a chance in the 75th minute for a hat-trick, but he pretty much won the ball himself, and he was just a bit off balance and shot wide with his right foot. After that, we just controlled possession for the last 10 minutes, conserving energy, making sure we don't give any counter-attacks to the Rwandans. They must have been so frustrated. Honestly, it was such a mature performance from the Super Eagles. So that was it for us. And full-time results: Nigeria 2, Rwanda 0. Osimhen 2 goals, and we're on and moving. So as I've already said with the positives, this was a very controlled, positive performance from a dominant team, showing a team that they have more quality than that they're really boss. But taking chances, really just playing professionally. You can't really fault any player. I think everybody played well to an extent in this game, to be honest. We kept a clean sheet. That's always a positive and amazing to see. So shout out to the back line and the whole team because they pressed from the front. We dominated the game and saw it out so easily. Honestly, it was so nice to watch in Nigeria without panicking. At a point, I was even slightly bored. That's how comfortable we were. And that's how we should be when we're playing every team in this group, not named South Africa, with all due respect to the opponents that we have for World Cup qualifying. I mean, the two back-to-back African footballers of the year were outstanding, Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman. Lookman did not score, but he ran them ragged. Yes, there was one chance where you could say it was a bit selfish and he shot the ball. He could have been more clinical, but him and Osimhen were devastating. They showed why they were cut above a lot of players in the African continent. Victor Osimhen, what more can we say? What other superlatives can we draw for this player? He plays for Nigeria with his heart and soul, and he just dominates. Like, Osimhen is just that guy. Like, there's nothing else we can even add or say about this man. So God bless you, Victor Osimhen. I thought we were fantastic on set pieces. You could tell that they worked on certain drills, both attacking and defensively, because there was definitely some cohesion in the way we took our set pieces, which was fantastic to see. A lot of our corner kicks hit a Nigerian man on the head. For just better finishing. Ekong even had one header that just went wide in the first half as well. We could have easily scored 2 or 3 from set pieces in this game, but we managed to get one. So shout out to that. We also saw pretty solid displays from our defensive line. I thought the defense was really good. Ekong and Bassi. I thought Wilfred Ndidi controlled the game very well as well. Forget all that gidigbo, pace and power. Do you have the smarts to literally know the right time to intervene, the right time to make a clearance or an interception, or to just slow the game down and just play, in a very comfortable way? So that was fantastic to see. I thought the Rwandans were very naive in the way they allowed us to dominate the midfield. They left us so many spaces to pass the ball in the central area of the park, so we're able to build our attacks. I don't know if it's naivety or just tiredness or the fact that our players are just superior, but that was a bit interesting from them. Only negatives I would say is a lot of the subs, I don't really think they did much, but it seemed like it was also instruction. Every time Arakodare got the ball, he looked like he had instructions from Eric Chelle to slow the game down and to try to pass the ball in between back to the back line, basically, so that we could just maintain possession and control over the game. So I don't know if we could call that necessarily a negative. Obviously, Alassane Yusuf, our right back, he was not very good. He was shaky a few times, gave away the ball a few times. But we have to caveat that right back is not his position. That's the mistake you make when you only call up 3 fullbacks, and then you play Aino at left back. If he started with Onyemachi and then Aino at right back, then maybe he could have brought Osai Samuel on to play right back instead. Because you also have Calvin Bassi, who could then deputize as a left back, and then maybe you could have brought Igor Ugbo. But look, we're not in the business of criticizing coaches who know what they're doing. And yes, it's just one game, but so far so good. And we move and we take the positives from there. I also thought we got a few cheap yellow cards here and there. I remember Ndidi, getting caught one time. Just, could you say lack of concentration? It was just unlucky, man. But we got 1 or 2 yellow cards that were a bit interesting. But overall, fantastic performance from the Super Eagles. We're back on track. Make no mistake about it. We dominated the game, but we have to keep the momentum. This result means nothing if we don't beat Zimbabwe on Tuesday. So looking forward to that game, and hopefully the team could end this international break with 6 points, and we'll be feeling a lot more confident about ourselves going into the June friendlies, and then ultimately the next set of qualifiers, which will be happening in September, where the likes of Lookman and Osimhen will probably have even made moves to better teams, and we could see some movement around our team, maybe even call up certain players. So fantastic news. Fantastic performance. Rwanda, shout out to you. Your stadium looks magnificent. Your country looks magnificent even on TV. You can see the walk-ins. It's not like Nigeria that they don't want us to criticize the government, but we're not seeing any walk-ins. The only thing they've done in a year is change the national anthem that nobody knows. So anyway, shout out to Rwanda, great hosts, and shout out to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So that's it in terms of the recap of the Nigeria versus Rwanda game. And then, of course, as I mentioned very quickly, we're playing Zimbabwe in Uyo on Tuesday. This will be another 5 p.m. kickoff Nigeria time in Uyo. Remember, tail of the tape, we're 44th in the world. We're ranked 5th in Nigeria. You already know all our star players and who they are, you know. Zimbabwe, on the other hand, are ranked 119th in the world, so slightly above Rwanda. African ranking is 31st. Their head coach is Michel Nice. Players to watch out for with the Zimbabweans. To be fair, because of what Nigeria have done to us, I've been catching myself watching all the games that involve all the teams in this our group just to see the way we perform. And to be fair to Zimbabwe, even though they played at home, which was technically in South Africa, they were losing 2-0 to Benin Republic. Steve Mounier scored in the 12th minute and Dodo Doku scored in 35th minute. They were able to pull one back just before halftime, courtesy of Marshall Munetsi, who's one of their star players. And then in the 59th minute, they scored a very good goal through an excellent set piece by Knowledge Mosuna. So Knowledge Mosuna is also one of their pretty well-known players. They also have Marvelous Nwakamba, but he's out for this international break. He's injured, so watch out for that one. But I thought Zimbabwe showed spirits to get this tied down from 2-0 to 2-2. So out of their 5 games, they've drawn 3 and lost 2. So they've not been that bad, you know, especially at home. And unknowingly for us, we're one of the teams that gave them a draw, which in my opinion was super unacceptable. But anyway, we're here now. The momentum is with Nigeria, and Zimbabwe look to be the whipping boys of the group. So it would be a shame and devastating if Nigeria do not win this game. Watch out for Marshall Munetsi, who I just mentioned. He's 28-year-old Wolves midfielder who just moved from Reims in the January transfer window, and he scored in their last game against Benin, as I mentioned. They've also got Munashe Garanaga. He's a 24-year-old player who plays for Copenhagen. Also, Knowledge Musuna, who I mentioned, who scored the equalizer with a well-worked free kick. He's 34-year-old winger playing for Al Akdud. He also, and then they've got Jordan Zamora, who plays with Maduka Okoye at Udinese. Jordan Zamora used to play for Bournemouth. He was born and raised in England, but his family lineage is Zimbabwean, so he's been playing for the Zimbabwean national team. Head-to-head records: Nigeria in our last 2 games against Zimbabwe, we've drawn, which is very unlike us. We drew in November 2023. That was in the World Cup qualifier. That's already a year and a half ago, so that's a long time in football. And before that, we drew 0-0 in an international friendly in 2019. Prior to that, the last time we played the Zimbabweans was in 2006, and let's just say they were our whipping boys. We used to just beat them anyhow. 2-0 in 2006, 5-1 in 2005 World Cup qualifying for that World Cup that we did not make. Even in that same World Cup, we beat them 3-0 away. So this is a team that really and truly we should be battering. And forget, we should really see our team handle Zimbabwe quite well. What do I expect to be the starting lineup for this game? I think more of the same from the game against Rwanda. Eric Chelle will look for the team to dominate our opponents, play on the front foot because we need the points. We can't afford any draws. You know, we need to minimize the counter-attacking opportunities that the opponents can get and make sure that we spend majority of the time on the ball. You know, if we can get close to 70% of possession, then we're in business, you know. Our defense will remain solid, and now that we have an idea about how the coach likes to play, I can see him playing pretty much the exact starting lineup that he played against Rwanda, except for one change. Osai Samuel looked like he got injured when he left, so I think there's a world where Osai Samuel will drop to the bench and Bruno Yemanchi will start the game on Tuesday. But apart from that, I expect Nwabali to get the nod in goal again. Ekong Ambasi will continue to start as our centre-back pairing. I think Ola Aina should move to right back where he's a bit more comfortable playing, but he was solid in this game as well. You know, I don't really have any qualms for him. And then we should see Bruno Yemanchi. I think Bruno Yemanchi's attacking prowess showed through in the game against Rwanda. The amount of times he was in the final third of Rwanda and putting in crosses. Yes, it could be a bit more accurate, but you can see the potential and the attacking threats from Oyemachi. So let's see him get the nod. And Didi and Iwobi will continue to start in the middle. I expect Edika start off the bench again because if it ain't broke, there's no need to fix it. Chukwueze, Simon will both start as well. And then we'll see Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman, the 2 back-to-back African footballers of the year, lead the line for this final game before the international break ends. Scoreline prediction. Yes, we have to remain humble and keep our feet firmly on the ground, but after what we witnessed yesterday, I'm a lot more confident about how Nigeria will be feeling playing Zimbabwe. It's also nice that they can relax a bit with the pressure a bit off, just knowing that they can win. It's our first win of the World Cup qualifying rounds, and we need to make this two wins from our last 2 games. So I'm predicting a 3-0 win for Nigeria. I expect this to be a routine win for the Super Eagles. Victor Osimhen will definitely score again. That one is no in doubt. and I think we'll also see Lookman get on the score sheet in this game. So I'm predicting 2 goals for Victor Osimhen and 1 goal from Ademola Lookman. Then a 3-0 win for the Super Eagles of Nigeria over Zimbabwe. So that should take us closer to the top of the group, and hopefully Benin can do us a favor and take some points off South Africa, because I still do think South Africa are our biggest threat in that lineup. So that's it in terms of the preview of the Zimbabwe game and the review of the game against Rwanda. You know, just endorphins, good vibes, good feelings, everything. We're just feeling good about the Super Eagles. So long may it continue. You know, please make sure you watch the game on Tuesday. We'll be doing another live watch along for the game on Tuesday. Please join, set your alarms. I'll make sure it's on Instagram as well this time. Also, I'll be doing a review episode after the game, like I'm just doing right now for this one. So look out for that. Continue to smash the likes, continue to follow. We're getting close to 1,500 subscribers on the YouTube channel, so I reckon by God's grace we can get to 2,000 over the next month. So shout out to all of you guys, and until next time, take care. I've been your host Oluoke, and Super Eagles no go ever carry last in Jesus' name. Up Super Eagles, and take care.
Thanks for watching this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get a notification whenever we drop a video. You can also find our social media channels listed below. And of course, up Super Eagles, and Nigeria no dey ever carry last.